Hey everyone, welcome back to your week ahead astrology breakdown. I'm Matthew Oliver with Stillwater Alchemy, and this week is quite benefic. We have a lot of things going on. Mercury has stationed direct. There's a lot of air influence in the cosmos, a lot of planets in air signs, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. So we can use that to our advantage to be mindful of our words, our thoughts, our intentions, our beliefs as we get closer and closer to that Aries full moon that's going to be happening on Sunday. So we're going to deep dive into all of that and examine that in greater detail. Also, to make you all aware, I have a coaching special available for the month of October. So there's 4 sessions, one per week. We're really deep dive into a specific part of your life that you can help strengthen to move through certain doubts or fears, to really strengthen certain mindsets to help you close out the rest of the year with greater ease. Because I will say, once we get to Scorpio season at the end of October, we also have the eclipses. It's really going to be a time where all that work is going to be presented to see if you've been doing the studying, been being mindful, been using all the resources and tools to get you ready for what's about to take place. And so I'm not to scare anyone, but these eclipses, ask any astrologer, there's just a lot of intensity in quintessential Scorpio fashion that's going to be taking place. So if you want a little bit of extra support, or you've been feeling called to work with someone to help you move through certain energies, feel free to contact me. That coaching special is only going to be available until the 7th of October. After that, it'll be finished because I really want to hone in on these next 4 weeks to set everyone up for success that wants that support and accountability. So I'll place more information in the description of this video if you want to learn more. Okay. And as well, my books are open for general one-on-one readings with regards to tarot, astrology, past life regression, and coaching as well. So if you're just interested in a one-off, do a little bit of fine-tuning, that's also available for you as well. So let's hop in to the week ahead and see what we are contending with. So we're starting off on Monday, October 3rd. So this is a really great day, and I would really advise you all take this if it resonates, but the moon is in Capricorn, and the moon is making really nice aspects to Mercury, to Uranus, and to Neptune, and it's also conjunct Pluto. The moon in Capricorn is very structured, very disciplined. It wants to have that orderly fashion. It can sometimes fall into this overburden or perfectionism or taking a lot of responsibility of nothing is ever good enough. I need to keep performing. I need to keep doing. On its more benevolent side, it just knows where to focus its time and energy. So if this works and if this resonates for you, I would map out time for the entire week ahead, especially if you're watching this on Monday or Tuesday, to say, I know I need to get X, Y, and Z complete by the end of this week. I know that I'm going to set myself up so that by Wednesday, this gets done. Friday, this gets done. Everything's done by Saturday. And if I can get done everything on my to-do list for the week, on Sunday, I'm going to treat myself to this. Or if you know that you need to go see the optometrist or the chiropractor, get your taxes done, or whatever it may be, making that an actual priority, and even maybe calling and making those appointments at the start of the week. So you are setting yourself beautifully up for success. I also personally, before I go to bed each day, I will write down all my appointments, all my clients, intentions for the day, things I want to get done on a little sticky note. They're various colors, so they're fun. It's not just yellow. I think right now I'm on like a sunset orange type color. And then as I cross those things off the list, it just feels really good in terms of autonomy and building that momentum throughout the day. And it just like, it sits on my desk. I know that I'm going to be doing it. I write it before I go to bed. It's almost like I'm giving gratitude as if it's already happened with ease or with pleasure or both. So given that we have this Saturnine energy and the moon is making nice aspects to other earth signs, see how that resonates for you, and seeing if just blocking off certain days for certain activities or setting yourself up responsibly time wise on Monday leads to greater success throughout. And even now with Mercury stationed direct and it's making that nice aspect to the moon, there might even just be more clarity on things that you need to get done, or there's more focus involved where you can think a bit clearly. Now Mercury is moving away from that opposition to Neptune. So now Mercury is exalted and in its domicile in the sign of Virgo. So slowly but surely, as Mercury is gaining momentum, I'm sure all of you will feel like any brain fog or frustration that you're dealing with is going to be alleviated. And getting that grounding energy will help, especially with the moon conjunct Pluto. There might be some realization or knowing of what is next, or letting go of something that was crippling or putting so much weight on you. There's always times in our life when there's one thing that really is taking us out of alignment, or we're fearful of, or we're thinking, what if this doesn't go well? What if I fail? What if, what if, what if? I think once the moon passes that threshold with Pluto, kind of going into the depths of our soul, dark night of the soul, the underworld, however you want to classify it, it'll be very clear what we need to do in order to be grounded, successful, and be able to move on. Tuesday. So Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to be 5 planets in air signs. We're going to have the moon, Saturn, Mars, Venus, and the sun. So that's what I was thinking. Setting yourself up for success on Monday can then allow all the conversations, all of your thoughts, everything to be in alignment. If you already know that everything's set up, you don't have to keep worrying. It's like, oh, I need to go see the optometrist. That appointment's already set up. It doesn't need to take any more cognition out of your day. And also too, the moon making a nice trine to Venus. This could also be really nice in terms of collaborating, conversation, negotiation, connecting with someone. This could also be really cute. Like, part of me thinks if you want to take your shot or shoot your shot with a romantic interest or someone that you've been flirting with, connecting with, and like sending a funny meme or just like sending something witty or just having that banter in a very intellectual fashion. Like the moon in Aquarius, she needs her alone time. She needs to be able to do her own thing, kind of like in Miss Independence. But when she wants to have that intimate quality time, she wants to make sure that it's there, but also on her level, especially intellectually. So knowing your worth, knowing what you want out of relationships in all capacities, not just romantic, this could be a time where you get to delve further into that. And why not go on a fun date on a Tuesday night? There's really nice energy here, even just connecting in with your own pleasure, what you value, finding beauty in whatever you find beauty in. Taking time to just honor beauty, period, on Tuesday would be a nice energy, in my opinion. Because when we move on to Wednesday, Wednesday is interesting because we have the moon conjunct Saturn, but then the moon is also making a trine to the sun and Mars. So this could be an energy where you find more power and autonomy, or knowing where you need more power and autonomy, and where maybe you're coming head to head with restrictions. Part of me is this like hurry up and wait. And also too, being careful because Mercury is still in those post retrograde shadows. It's still within a 3-degree orb of the opposition with Neptune. So let's say you're gaining momentum, you're attracting new partners, you're attracting new relationships, but then there's something that comes in really quickly that's making you question your boundaries. A past lover, a friend texts you, there's family drama. Are you going to get sucked into that, or are you going to stand firm and know what your worth is to place value on what's important to you? This could also just be like, I really want something really badly, or there's this passion or this insight or this download, but you need better foundations, you need better support, or it just could be when it rains, it pours, and there's so many blessings that come in, and you just need to have the focus to get everything done, to enjoy all the things. It's like, you might not be able to attend every party if you have a deadline, but had you got that deadline done on Monday night, then you could have attended all the parties because there's nothing on your plate. So Saturn, for me, it's like there's just something here that we need to have some discernment in, or to release the need to have it done right away, or to want something right away, because I feel like this is just kind of not a hurdle, but it's going to show us where more discipline, more mastery, or more better use of our time will help us to enjoy all the things that we want. And this is also something too that, again, with all this prominence of air energy, almost like a grand air trine, it's a bit wide, but you can see that everything is kind of like close to this 12-degree mark. Mars is a bit further outside of that, but regardless, know your boundaries. No means no. And if you say that to someone, or someone says that to you, being able to understand that and using your words, using your voice, using your mind to your benefit, extremely prominent on Tuesday and Wednesday. And if there is a delay, maybe using your mindset or using words to alleviate that delay, or to still make it work in your favor to finish it in the time allotted. I just feel like there's some kind of like deadline or something where time might feel pressured because you want to get something else done in order to enjoy something in a different fashion. So just kind of know, especially if you're watching this at the beginning of the week, you're like, oh yeah, I really need to get this done. Do that so that you can also use the Saturn energy of like, I showed discipline in this part of my life, and thus I got to enjoy this. I would also recommend that you look at the houses in your natal chart ruled by Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra, so you can see where this air activation is going to take place. And if you are someone with prominent air energy in your chart, just know that you are going to be very much activated on Tuesday and Wednesday with all this energy taking place on natal placements that you have there. And what I mean by that is if you say have Venus in Gemini and now you have Mars in Gemini making aspects to both Moon and Venus, there's probably going to be some kind of Venusian energy that's taking place when the Moon is also going through an air sign. And the closer and closer it is by degree, like let's say your natal Venus is at 20 degrees of Gemini, you're probably going to feel it quite significantly on Wednesday with the Moon making a trine to your natal Venus and Mars aspecting your natal Venus as something that's a bit more intermediate, or ways that you can look at your own chart in conjunction with what's going on in the cosmos. Okay, so Thursday, now we're coming up to the waxing gibbous part of the moon as she enters Pisces, as we're getting ready for that full moon in Aries. So with a waxing gibbous moon, it's all about refinement. There can sometimes be this culmination of energy where something is about to take place or something is about to take place. Like when you're doing a dress rehearsal for a play, you're putting in the final touches, you're doing a run through, you're making sure that everything is running smoothly. So on the day of the big play or the grand opening, everything can run flawlessly, that you've worked out the kinks. And with the moon going through Pisces, it's going to be aspecting Mercury when it gets closer and closer to Neptune. So I really want you to honor your intuition and see what's going on. I want you to see what is taking place where we're now switching from a more air dominant energy to tapping more into the emotional side of things. And on Thursday as well, if you can set yourself up for success where you've taken time to get grounded, where you've set aside time to do things throughout the day, and now you've been able to use your words to your advantage, it's almost like we're just using each element as it comes along this week. And now we're more so in the water modality. And then we're going to have that huge climax with the full moon in Aries, which is fire. So really tap into your emotions, really understand those things. Also, this is a great time to get creative. I mean, we're in Libra season. Venus is in the sign of Libra. So art, expression, creativity, however that manifests for you, like go and have some fun. This is a great time to be social, to go out and about, to be with people that you love. And with the moon in Pisces, there might be an opportunity to express yourself and be vulnerable, to see what's coming up in that part of yourself. For those of you who maybe stave off emotions, you're not that emotional of a person, moon in Pisces, getting ready for the full moon up in Aries, sometimes those emotions just need to come out. And if that just means watching something that makes you emotional to kind of help unscrew that part of yourself, that could be nice. And I just think that for all creatives, Thursday, especially before the moon moves closer to that opposition with Mercury, this is just a nice time to play. So enjoy that. When we get to Friday, this is really a culmination of a lot of different things taking place. So Friday, in my opinion, is the most intense, energetic day. And here's why. So the moon is making a square with Mars. The moon is also going to be opposing Mercury. And so with this, it's almost like, again, we're having this T square with Mars and Gemini, and then Mercury and the moon teeter-tottering on a seesaw. So if your mental state is very frenetic, you're in your head, you're getting lost in thought, then the moon is probably not going to be able to be fully supported to express herself emotionally, creatively. And then Mercury is going to be out to lunch as well. And it could be a revelation around truth, given that Mercury is making a trine to Pluto, could have you spiraling. It's like, on a very base example, you like someone, you're messaging them back and forth, but then they say that they're not interested. You could approach that by saying, cool, now I know. It has nothing to do with me. The connection's not there. I'm going to pursue someone else. Or you could freak out and go through all of this conditioning of I'm not worthy, I'm not attractive, this always happens to me, no one ever appreciates me, da 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 da. So having a strong emotional support with this Mercury trine Pluto is very prominent, because remember that Mercury is in such a strong position in the sign of Virgo. Pluto can represent truth, can represent power, can represent secrets being revealed or new information that's very powerful or has weight that comes to the surface from the subconscious. It could also just be a breakthrough in general that you uncover. Sometimes that breakthrough can cause everything in our life to be in flux, and that's okay. If there's something that you discover, it doesn't have to be bad, it could be great, but then you're like, now understanding this and knowing this, I now have to take a step back and reevaluate everything. And in those moments where your mind is being blown, it can be unnerving, it can be emotional, it can be confusing and frustrating. And so it could be one of which way. It could be like that this information causes and activates this T square with Mars, or it can be something like this is not allowing you to see something for the truth that it really is. So by you being in this frustrated, nervous, anxious energy, you're not able to see something clearly. Or by seeing something clearly, you then need to take a step back and recalibrate your emotions. So those are just a couple ways it could manifest. Of course, a better way to work with this is the energy of like, okay, I'm building momentum. I'm building on something that I've always wanted. There are certain things I need to suss out. There might be some insecurities that I feel within myself, within my career, within my relationship. I'm going to now trust my intuition, bring up the conversation that needs to be had so the truth can be revealed, so that I can really use my thoughts, my words, my progress that I've made in this part of my life to get the clarity that I need. That's how I would use this energy. If you're feeling unsure or unclear or just need additional clarity in something, use your words. Take everything that we've learned throughout this week, especially, but your entire life, and don't allow false narratives or ideas that might not be true to cause you to spiral. Because I'm not sure if I said this, but Mars is also now within a 1 degree square of Neptune. So this can be really messy because we have Mars in an air sign and Neptune in a water sign. So this can just be all those kind of like fears or emotional doubts causing our mind to go crazy, like a Tasmanian devil. Like a Tasmanian devil frothing on like outdated cough syrup and then wondering why we have a headache. It's like, just don't feed the Tasmanian devil outdated cough syrup, or don't even keep a Tasmanian devil in your mind. You can just have like a teddy bear that you just get to like cuddle with, not a Tasmanian devil that would burn up your entire mind. So that might be a silly analogy, but we just want to allow ourselves to feel calm and relaxed and not allow the mind to spiral. Because when we move to Saturday, this is a really fun day. So when I was channeling and just preparing for this video, the moon is now separating from that opposition with Mercury and the square to Mars. Oh, also too, as a fun way to use this energy on Friday, if you need new shoes, get new shoes. Don't just look at shoes from a year ago and be like, they're good enough. If you need to replace the sole of the shoe, do that, because Mars, moon, remember that sometimes when you have tough aspects to Mars and the moon, it can cause injury or infection in the body. So the moon in Pisces, Pisces rules over the feet. So any kind of like, if your feet are sore, maybe getting a foot massage, getting reflexology, moving energy through the feet, or like an Epsom salt bath, or just soaking your feet, a foot massage. These would all be great things to utilize on Friday to move energy from that part of your body, as an FYI. Saturday. So you were leaving this mutable obstacle course. And I feel like a mutable obstacle course is very timely. Pisces ruling the feet, Virgo of just like that cognition, that critical eye, and then Gemini is the arms and the hands. And these are like all things that you would need in an obstacle course. And of course, like Sagittarius rules the legs. So it's like all the things that you need to navigate an obstacle course. And the moon is just like, oh my gosh, like I have to go through all these hoops and all of these tricks and all of these riddles. Once she's leaving Pisces, it's like, okay, now I know what I'm doing. It's like, you ever watch the TV show Survivor, and there's like so many different stages in the immunity challenge. It's like, you need to crawl through the mud, and then you need to jump through this hoop, and then you need to swing on this rope, and then you need to finish the puzzle at the end. And there might be people that are more physical, but then they get to the puzzle and they're hooped. I feel like it's almost like in that kind of scenario where it's a obstacle course and then you get to the puzzle and then something finally clicks and you're able to move everything around. It's like that moment of revelation or that moment of clarity or that moment of, I finally know what I'm doing. Let's just finish this last part off and then I'm done. whatever that is. And I think that that's going to be coming through on Saturday, because Saturday is the day before the full moon. Saturday is also, the moon has crossed Neptune, is now going to make that conjunction with Jupiter. So it's like, I've worked through this, I've gained the inspiration, or I know intuitively what I need to do. And then once the moon is conjunct Jupiter, it like jump starts an energy to then be showcased on the full moon. So really notice what's coming through Friday, Saturday, but especially Saturday throughout the day. So when we get to Sunday, that's when we have the full moon in Aries. So the nice thing about this full moon is that it's going to be making aspects to both benefics, both to Jupiter and to Venus. And then also the moon is going to be sextiling both Mars and Saturn. So it's like the moon is getting a lot of action essentially. And I mean, Aries doesn't mind that at all. It can be just be a lot of things happening very quickly. And so this week, as we've discovered, and I feel like I've talked longer than I normally do, but there's just so many aspects that are going on. And there's so many opportunities to expand quite quickly. But also with that expansion comes moments of contraction. We just have to be aware of past conditionings, where we're holding ourselves back, in terms of beliefs, our words, our thoughts, our relationships, everything. But just know that like Sunday, Monday, the 9th, the 10th of October, there is going to be a lot to be revealed, good things to be taking place. And I mean, once we move on to the 10th as well, 10th, 11th, depending on your time zone, then Mercury is going to be moving into Libra. So really pay attention with this full moon as well. The houses in your natal chart ruled by Libra and Aries, because that's going to be an axis that is going to be most prominent during this lunation, especially given that Venus and Jupiter are joining the sun and the moon with this lunation. Okay. Boom. So a question that I've got a lot in terms of our astrology question of the week, someone wrote in last week as well, just of if you live in different time zones, or if you live in different city, how week ahead forecasts work. And I've mentioned this before, but I'll mention again in greater detail. So again, I'm based in Toronto. I pick Eastern Standard Time just so that I can make sense of it as well. And no matter which time zone I use, it's not going to be able to appeal to everyone. But if we go back, especially on Friday, because Friday is one of the more prominent days that we're dealing with. So here is Friday's chart. Like we said, the moon making that square to Mars. The moon is also making that applied opposition to Mercury, that conjunction with Neptune. So if we look at this, we see that the moon is at 14 degrees. So right now we're Eastern Standard Time. If I change this for the West Coast, so we have Vancouver, which is Pacific Standard Time, the moon is now at 16 degrees. That's not a huge difference, because the moon roughly is going to move 1 degree per hour. So knowing that, and the time difference that you have with Eastern Standard Time is going to be how much the moon moves. We saw that Mercury at 26 degrees makes that trine to Pluto. That's still the case if we're using Pacific Standard Time. And now if we switch this to London, England, just to have a Europe comparison, we see the moon is at 11 degrees and Mercury is still at 26 degrees. So what is really affected the most, of course, is going to be the moon when we're talking about different time zones. The sun moves about 1 degree per day. And then the next fastest moving planet is going to be Mercury when it's not in a retrograde or pre or post retrograde period as well. So if you can keep that in mind and just know it really is the moon that's going to be the most affected by time zones, that'll give you a greater peace of mind. Of course, for our friends in Asia, Australia, New Zealand, that would be a bit of a bigger contrast, of course. But just to give this in greater comparison, we'll type in Brisbane, Australia, just to showcase this, just so that everyone can have a learning opportunity here. So Australia. So then we see that the moon is in Pisces at 6 degrees. So then it is a bit further back because, of course, Australia has a bit of a greater time zone difference. And we can see here that Mercury is at 25 degrees instead of 26 degrees. So in that case as well, for our friends in Australia, you would just know that the moon is still in Pisces. And even within an orb of Mercury, it's not the exact conjunction, but that conjunction will be taking place on Friday, no matter what. And so sometimes with the lunations, of course, like full moons and new moons, that will depend on where you are with regards to time zones. Sometimes it can be on the different calendar days, some days it's on the same calendar day. But with regards to using these week ahead forecasts, generally speaking, you're safe across the board, because when I talk about transits, I'll mention if it's an outer planet, if it's like an exact degree. But for the moon, I'm talking relative terms that throughout the day, the moon will be aspecting whichever planet in some capacity, so that anyone watching in any time zone, we're still all going to be feeling that energy at some point throughout the day. And even let's say if the moon crosses that aspect, it's still within the orb, right? Because we give the moon a 12-degree orb, most astrologers, because it moves so quickly. So no matter what, it doesn't even have to be the exact degree for that aspect to be activated. And this is a bit more of a intermediate astrological concept with regards to aspects and how the aspects can manifest with regards to the planets. But I want to give that in greater detail because someone had wrote in last week about it. So I just wanted to touch base on it. So let me know if that resonates, or if you'd like more examples on that, or want further an explanation on how we can look at transits or how to further use these week aheads. That's also kind of like when I say if you had a lot of air energy in your chart, knowing where those signs fall in your natal chart, so that you'll understand, let's say on Tuesday and Wednesday, when the moon is going through Aquarius, that those houses in your natal chart ruled by Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra will feel it the most, of course. So that is our week ahead. Naturally, I will be posting the full moon in Aries workshop later on the week, so you can keep your eyes out for that. As per usual, if there are any general questions, let me know in the description of this bio. And for anyone interested in the October coaching special, it is available until the 7th of October. I will put all the details in the description of this video, as well as the link for all of our other services if you just want to book in for a one-on-one reading throughout this month. Thank you all for watching. Have a phenomenal week ahead. Use your time and your words wisely so you can trust in your intuition and bring in the passion and the joy and the inspiration that comes through with this Aries full moon. Okay? I'll talk to you soon. Bye.